I think when I was 11, I had a 7.5 hour surgery around here on my throat and neck, and that was like a long recovery. That was like 5 days in intensive care. I couldn't eat for a few of them, so I had to have kind of IV fluids.
When and how were you diagnosed?
So I was diagnosed with my condition, type 1 neurofibromatosis, at the age of 5. I was messing around in my room one night, pretending to be Hulk Hogan, and kind of bounced my head off the windowsill. And then the parents heard the screaming of their firstborn son, ran upstairs, checked the furniture, checked the child, and it came up in a bump, as you think it might do. And then we kind of iced it down, left it, and then I did the exact same thing again, because smart kid. And this time it didn't go down. And so we started going into talking to GPs or what have you. And then we got further and further into the system and eventually got the diagnosis. It's a genetic condition that affects roughly 1 in every 2,300 births in the UK. And what it means is that your nerve tissues grow exponentially. Well, there's no one-size-fits-all to the condition, and I've met hundreds of people who are affected by it, all of whom present very differently. And so these tumours can occur anywhere on the human body. It just so happens that most of mine are like on my face and my upper torso. So it's just a really random chance thing. It's the beauty and chaos of genetics all at the same time. When you grow up with a disability, particularly a rare progressive one, you spend a lot more time in and out of hospitals, and you mix in different worlds to your counterparts. And whilst it wasn't unpleasant, it makes you grow up very quickly.
What kind of surgeries did you have to go through?
Absolutely. So you have what they call debulking surgeries, where they go in and they try and remove as much excess tissue as they can without either being too heroic or compromising things like feeling and muscle movement. There are two kinds of fibromas. You've got the basic ones that just sit on the nerves, and you can pluck those off quite easily. Or you have plexiform ones that are also wrapped around muscle, bone, and other important tissue. And I have a lot of those. I think when I was 11, I had a 7.5 hour surgery around here on my throat and neck. And that was like a long recovery. That was like 5 days in intensive care. I couldn't eat for a few of them, so I had to have kind of IV fluids. All in all, I am now up to 39 surgeries, and number 40 is in the books.
What were your teenage years like?
Well, teenage years are awful anyway, aren't they? You're just riddled with angst. You have this sort of like, why me, My Chemical Romance, emo kind of mentality. And I've always said that I'll allow myself one good cry or one good moan over anything. But then after that, you've got to go out and you've got to deal with it and put it in its place. In terms of the playground economy, I was a really easy target for people to kind of go after. You learn to cope with it all by getting on with it. Like you walk through it, you take it in, you process it, you allow yourself the space to grieve it, and then you have to move on. You can't carry all this around with you for forever. That'd be even more soul destroying than the bullying itself.
How did you make a decision to have a TV career?
Oh crikey, I fell into TV. The BBC did a scheme called Extend, where they recruit specifically for disabled candidates. I can say categorically that the TV industry has served the disabled community, both on screen and off screen, completely terribly, and there is a real problem with systemic ableism in film and TV. If you have a non-disabled person presenting a disability documentary, that's just ridiculous and wishy-washy. And I think a lot of the time, when disabled people break into this industry, they're afraid to stand their ground. They don't want to be seen as difficult or that guy. Whereas I'll happily be that guy. But when you want to do something that creates a positive change, someone has to be that guy. There have been, 29 Oscar nominations, give or take, based on portrayal of disability. And only 2 of those actors are actually disabled. And if you were to take those same kind of metrics and apply them to race or gender, you'd be appalled and disgusted. And this idea that, it's acting, that argument falls down under the weight of its own ignorance. Completely. Normally when you see facial disfigurement or visual difference in film, it's used as like a shorthand for victimhood or villainy. Like if you look at the amount of bad guys who've got scars or marks, James Bond is littered with them. No Time to Die was the 3rd one in a row, which when you look at how much that film series has progressed in its portrayal of women, I don't know why it continues to portray disfigurement in such a way.
How did you get into acting from TV?
I applied for the role in Under the Skin as a joke. I was casting something for Channel 4 at the time, and I got a call from Changing Faces, who are the UK's largest charity that support people with disfigurements and visual differences, saying, hey, this film company have been in touch, they want a guy with a disfigurement to maybe sort of kind of be in a film. Here's the number if you want to call them. And so, I gave them a call, I had a chat. They asked me to send a paragraph, like a written paragraph about myself, and I didn't have time, so I sent my CV. And the opening gambit in my CV is, my name's Adam Pearson, I'm the best in the world at what I do. And no more, I don't even extrapolate on it, it's not like a really wacky media CV. And they liked it, and then they were like, can you put a clip of yourself on YouTube for the director, so you can see how you move and how you talk and what have you. And at this point, I'm like thoroughly freaked out. And now I want all this to end so I can get back to normality, quote unquote. So I upload this really sarcastic YouTube video where I make fun of both my employers, star signs, vegans, and then a dog appears in my arms out of nowhere. And I hear nothing for 3 weeks. I'm like, yes, got rid of them. Woo! I then get a call to go and meet the director for one final meeting at the American Church on Tottenham Court Road. And on the way to that meeting, I get hit by a black cab and break my leg. And at that point, I'm like, oh no. And I call the director, I'm like, hey, funny story, just been hit by a car, my leg's broken, I'm still really keen, I'm still coming, I'm just going to be about 10 minutes late. And then by this point, I'm like surrounded by like paramedics and curious members of the public. And then he eventually turns up to the scene as well. By this point, I'm just in my pants, high as giraffe on morphine. And apparently the conversation went thusly. Him, oh, bloody hell, Adam, I didn't realise you did your own stunt work. To which I apparently replied, do I look like I've got a stunt double? And then I go to UCL, have to have leg surgery. He comes in the next day into the trauma wing and offers me the job. And so then I got to rehab and fly to Scotland to work with Scarlett Johansson. I thoroughly enjoyed working on Under the Skin. Had a great crew. Got to go hang out in Scotland for a couple of weeks. Both her and Jonathan are thoroughly lovely. I couldn't have asked for a safer set of hands to be in.
In the world of social media, there is a lot of online trolls. How do you deal with them?
Trolling, this may sound really weird to say, and it's not an invitation to do it, but there's a little part of me that bloody loves it. because you can correct their grammar and move on. Because a lot of trolling is just insecure individuals desperately wanting attention. And so in a weird way, I'm sort of giving them what they want, almost. But there's also a level of illiteracy that comes with it, where social media, we write something, we send it, and we forget it's there forever. Like back in my day, if you wanted to be a to someone, you had to find them, say it to their face, and watch their soul die right in front of you. And then you feel this good old-fashioned emotion of remorse. Whereas now you can type it, send it, and feel all powerful. And it almost feels like there's no consequences to it. Whatever you send me, I'll screenshot it and I'll send it on. And in 5 years' time, it might come back your ass.
What's your health like now? Does your condition keep on progressing?
Okay, yeah, the condition will always keep on progressing. That's just the nature of it. And you schedule your appointments, you talk to your experts, and you go in when you have to. And you've always got to keep having it done. Like hospitals and surgery and medicine will always be a part of my life. Part of managing one's disability or one's circumstances is knowing when things are too much and knowing when to ask for help. And there's no shame in that. And I think particularly for young men, there's this real kind of like alpha mentality of kind of, no, I got this, it's all going to be good, it's all going to be good. And until you reach a true breaking point where you realise things aren't good. And so I think there's a great deal of strength in kind of reaching out for help, realising when things are too much at any given moment and working through it. I think it's okay not to be okay. I think sometimes the world does get on top of you. And I don't think it's all necessarily down to my disability. And I can't change my circumstances, but I can change how I feel about them. And invariably, how you feel about them does change over time. And you acknowledge it, you adapt, and you adjust. As long as you can be unashamedly yourself, because everyone else, frankly, is taken, you'll be good.
That snowballed into thoughts of, I'm never going to be intimate with anybody, I'm never going to have a family, I'm never going to experience love because I look like this. If I had a face like yours, if I had eyes like yours, I'd be happy.